Okay, folks, this is video part 3 for replacement of strut rod bushings, stabilizer link, and front engine transmission mount on a 1999 Lincoln Continental. We have everything apart. We got our strut rod out, and now we are going to show you the replacement. These are replacement parts here. This is the control arm. As you can see, there's a tab in the middle. The original bushing is this grooved bushing, which for the average layman, to get that to drive through, squeeze down, press through to where this groove fits in there is next to impossible for the average person. So I am going to, like I did on the other side, take my hacksaw, cut this bushing center to make it a two-piece bushing. It's okay if you lean one way more than the other, similar to how the front bushings do. If you look at them this way, you can see that they are leaned a little more one than the other as far as coming through. When you order these, you can order these as one piece. I highly recommend, again, order the two-piece. In hindsight, that's the way I should have done it. I will do it in the future if I ever have to. Okay, so in the meantime, this is the new bushing. This is the old bushing, which wasn't bad, but of course upon removal, just prying it out, you can see how it breaks it apart. So they end up broken apart. To get them out, this bushing wasn't bad. These are the front bushings here. Front bushing was okay. Wasn't too bad. The washers are marked this side out, so they go on concave like that over the bushing. The back washer had a little bit of deterioration to it. The right side is what was bad. This back washer was pretty much gone, and so there was a lot of play. When you accelerated on the motor, you felt it floating to the right. So of course if you do one side, you do the other. Standard policy in my world. The bushing goes in, and of course the washer caps over the bushing, such as that. That's the way it goes on. So the new replacement bushings on the front and back, they give you two-piece. Now, the thicker bushing is the front. That is the thicker one. If you see them, I'll line them up for you here. You got a thicker one and a thinner one. The inner one goes on the rod like this. Of course, you got to put your washer on first. So now these are different, a little bit different in size from the original, but it's okay. These are correct. These are Moog replacement bushings. So you put and you can't mix these washers up on the kit, because the first washer, I'll show you here, is big enough to slide down over the shaft of that rod. The front washer will not. See? So it can only go that way. So this is going to go back through like that. Washer. Oh, dropped it. Bushing. This is going to go through the frame. Washer and bushing like that through the frame. Once it's through the frame, you're going to feed the bushing this side through like that. And you're going to put your washer back on like that. And then put your bolt on, tighten that down. And again, anywhere between 75 and 100 foot-pound torque wrench, I would consider torque down. And that's a piece together bushing. So that's going to be the front, the strut rod. This is the back. I am going to cut this bushing. I'm going to feed the original bushing. The new bushing does not come with a washer. It has Oh my. Let's see. It has a washer on the inside, I think. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it was just that. I'll double check that. But anyway, that bottom one side is going to go on like that. And again, the other side is going to go through the control arm, such as that. And then on the other side, you're going to have to use the original washer because my replacement part did not come with new washers. It says this side out, so it's going to go on the bushing like that. So it's going to be convex facing out, and then your nut is going to go back on and tighten that down. And again, that's going to go through the control arm, such as that. But I'm going to cut that so it fits through on both sides. So that's going to put the control arm back on. And then, of course, you put the rod side on both ends. Feed the front side in. So it will be like this. I will put this on, feed that up through the frame. The back side, I will fit on the control arm, such as this. I will put the assembly back up in, put the control arm back in the bracket, which is right there. You can see it. Feed that in, feed the other end back up over the ball joint, which of course I boogered up a little bit. The boot, I'm going to end up replacing both those ball joints before the grease, before winter. Put the nut back on the ball joint, tighten the nut back down on the control arm. You snug the nut on the ball joint, put your cotter pin back in. On the control arm nut, it is I will double check, 18 millimeter. It has a self-locking nut, which fits into the frame so it won't turn as you're tightening it down. You tighten those down, then you take your 18 millimeter socket and put your breaker bar or your torque wrench on, tighten each nut down. Between 75 and 100 foot-pounds, you should be good. I will put all that back together now and get back to you then to put the stabilizer link back in and go from there. See you soon. Okay, bushings for the strut rod are back in, nuts back in, tightened down, torque down, control arms back in, bolts tightened down. Only thing I've left to do is tighten down the ball joint, which, like I say, they get boogered up, the rubber boot on them. I'm going to put new ball joints in this anyway, but I'll take it to the local garage where they got a press to press them in because it's a pain in the butt. So the next step then is the stabilizer link, which I have the new link in. It's marked driver's side. It is marked top and bottom. I used the bottle jack to raise the hub up, to compress the strut to bring it up so it was nice and easy to just slide right in there. So that's the final phase. It's a 19 millimeter wrench. Use a 19 millimeter open end box wrench and then just a crescent wrench on the hub. And you can either turn the stud or, well, on the top side, definitely. You want to just take your, I thought it was 18, but let me double check that. No, it's a 19. So you take your 19, I guess the new bolts are 19s. That might be why. I thought the old bolts were 18s, and you know what, I'll check. Because they're right here. And there they are. Yes, the original bolts were 18s. The new bolts are 19s. So I'm going to stick with the new bolts. So you put your 19 socket in it. My biggest thing is that little bit extra going to hold us up. It might be a problem. But anyway, then you take your crescent wrench and you turn them in. turn them in like that. Crescent wrench on one side and turn the socket. So if you do the top one, if you go back to the originals, they're 18s, which, you know what, for the top side I'm going to do for the sake of, oh no, it doesn't want to, I got to grip it. It's a pain in the butt. Anyway, I'm going to go back with the 18s because the 18 open end socket fits right in between this. Nice and easy. It holds in place, so you can just turn the stud with your crescent wrench to tighten it down. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to the originals. The bottom side, as you can see right there, you have some open room. I can see it. So I can get 18, 19 on it, doesn't matter, and turn it, tighten down. So I'll tighten the bottom side first, then I'm going to go to the top. That will put the control link back on. Stabilizer bushings are in, stabilizer bars back in. I'll get the ball joint tightened down, and then we will come back and put the rotor and the caliper back on and put the wheel back on. Again, 15/16 for the bolt right there, front and back on the control arm and the frame for the stabilizer bar. I did cut my bushing like I showed. If you order them, control arm to the stabilizer bar, order the 2-piece, then you don't got to cut them. I used the original washers with the control arm side. This one's concave, fits around the bushing. This one is convex. It has stamped on the washer, it says this side out. So you press that in. Little word to the wise, you can use a little dishwashing liquid soap on that rubber bushing to slide it down in that control arm, pop it in there, and it'll maneuver around nice and easy for you. The front side, you just use your washers, feed your bushing in your washer on the inside, feed it through the hole, get it in there, and then slide your bushing on the front side in around the rod, then put your washer over it, put the nut on it just to hold it in place. Again, you use your crescent wrench there on the flat tab to hold tight. Get your back side on your control arm, your bushings in, put your washer, then tighten them down. And they'll pretty much snug down. You'll know when to stop, put a little bit of torque to it, and you're good to go. That's 15/16. Then you need a original nuts were 18 millimeter, replacements are 19s for the control link. Use a bottle jack, just jack up your hub to compress so that it slides right in. You're not trying to torque it. And there's the top side. They are marked when you purchase them. Left side, driver's side, passenger side, top and bottom. It is, look for that so that you get them correctly. And get them all tightened down. Crescent wrench and an 18 or a 19 with the replacement bolts. Once you get all that torqued down, then you're good to go. We'll put the caliper mount and the caliper back on, put the wheel back on, and we'll be done.